Well, folks, we're back from another treat because we got Jack MacPherson back again, a 17-year-old. So, Jack, welcome, and good to have you here.
Yeah, it's always great to be here.
So, we're going to talk about the environmental issues, and I've got to say to you that you and I haven't had a pre-discussion about this. I have no idea where you're going to step into it, but you did make a comment the other day that you felt that the younger generation have a different outlook on, or different outlook on the environment than compared to older people. And how do you make that judgment?
Well, I just see it as an extension of where people carry their futures. And so the environmental issue is not a very in the now, if we don't do something, it'll have a serious effect next year. It's more spread out over the course of decades. And we've reached that point where it is coming to a close, where it could be very potentially dangerous in the near future. But I think that affects a lot more youth because that is their direct future. Whereas people of an older age, they've lived a lot longer lives, and then it might not be as pressing to them because they might not be around in that future.
All right, Jack, I'm going to put to you this factor, is that in the dairy industry, we have the dairy industry is fundamental to our exports and also to our environment, to our economy. And the issues related to the environment put that industry at risk. Now, I notice the Greens would be very happy if all the dairy industry wrapped up and disappeared. They are asking that they have limitations on their cows. So, and that really means a limitation on our economy. That means on our living standards, and that means on our exports. Means we can import less goods. Are you prepared to pay that price?
I believe that the dairy industry and all of the farmers care a lot about the environment, because that is their source of income, right? If the environment becomes worse, they don't get as good cows, and it doesn't produce as good products. And so I believe they care greatly about it. And I know there is definitely research and development being done at the moment within those sectors to help make it a more environmentally friendly process. And so I personally wouldn't want that area cut off or restricted in any way that would limit the economics of that sector. But I would want more research and consideration going into how to make it a more sustainable industry.
So what about the specific issue of limiting the number of cows in our environment? I mean, obviously they contribute hugely to the amount of carbons going into the air. But do you think it's necessary that we should ask farmers to limit their income, if you like, and limit their stock numbers?
Well, what's been seen, that I've seen, is that there's been developments where people have started to make artificial cow milk, artificial cow cheese, and it's not almond milk or anything. It's from it's a dairy product, but it's just lab made. And so I think that as an industry, if we move the farming sector into that area, then it would allow for them to go down on their amount of cattle that they have without encroaching or depleting their own worth or economic benefit.
This is such a broad subject because, look, I've even just recently heard, the rivers and the creeks that run through cities and particularly in Auckland here and in towns is a complete shocking mess of pollution. And to fix that, we're going to have to stop rainwater coming off the roofs because they're getting lead in there. We'd have to stop rainwater coming off the roads. We'd have to limit the amount of traffic on roads, or find another means of capturing that water and putting it somewhere else. There is a lot of huge matters that have to be looked at to resolve that. But the sacrifices right now, we'd have to stop washing our cars, stop washing our houses. We would have to perhaps limit our road traffic immediately to stop that. Have you thought through that, how that could impact on your life standards?
Well, I think that at this stage, any demand from those standpoints would either be absolutely necessary or absolutely unreasonable. You can't expect people to have to change their lives like this unless it would be the most necessary thing. And I've not seen a lot about, are you talking about big scale pollution or the microplastics and the chemicals?
In our current creeks right now, we've got a high level of toxins There is even fecal matter in the creeks around this particular area. But also coming off the roads, we have some of those toxins coming down there are actually carcinogenic. We're getting asbestos from the shoe pads of brakes, and a lot of other nasties coming down. And to fix those is going to be quite a massive issue. Jack, one of the big things I want to bring to your attention also is currently in New Zealand right now, we're burning 250% more coal than we ever used to, on the basis they cut off natural gas for the sake of saving the planet. What's your thoughts on that?
I think that there are necessary sacrifices that have to be made in the transition to more sustainable things. So if there is a temporary input or like uptake in the amount of coal used, that maybe that is necessary to be able to have enough energy to sustain our transition. And I don't necessarily know if that's their plan, because I haven't specifically looked into that area. But if that is their plan, then I would say that it is a necessary sacrifice to have to make to transition to healthier, more sustainable ways of energy.
I think what I'm hearing from you, Jack, and I think we agree on this, is moderation is what needs to be developed across the board. So let me just explain. This new government came in, the Greens put pressure on, they cut off natural gas, which has less carbon than coal. And as a consequence of that, that's why our increase since this government's been in power, since they've cut off the gas, has gone up. Now, it only goes, and they burn a lot of coal when we're in drought, and we're about to go into a massive drought this summer as well. So what's your views on actually asking the industry to start, I don't even think we could do it, getting natural gas back going again?
Well, I think there are a lot more things to consider in regards to the environment than specifically carbon output. And obviously that's one of the big, most important ones that everyone looks at. But if I'm not mistaken, there's a lot of other environmental damages that come with natural gas. And that's more pressing to our immediate habitats that we have, because New Zealand is a very nice biodiverse country. We have beautiful trees and bushes and wildlife. And so the natural gas farming can come to add a harm to those habitats, and it can endanger a lot of our species. And so I would not be sure whether I want to put that at risk in the immediate term, although it is a tough decision to have to make, whether you sacrifice now or you have to face those consequences down the line.
Yeah, I certainly have to agree with all that. Also, I mean, I'd like to see a lot more investment put into actually finding these alternative means of energy, and hydrogen really spins my wheels at the moment. But all right, Jack, look, thanks very much. I think we're going to have to touch on this subject again and again, because energy factor is just a big one with me at the moment, and I'm very, very concerned that we've probably taken a bit of a knee-jerk reaction on that. But good to hear your views, by the way, and because you're the next generation, you'll be in charge very soon.
Yeah, it was a great discussion.